horny turn? Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about faith healing. It's blatantly fraudulent. When someone like Benny Hinn or Peter Popoff or Reinhard Bonnke claims to have the ability to heal the sick through the power of the Holy Spirit, the only possible way they aren't lying their falsely pious ass off is if they are deeply, deeply deluded. That they actually possess the abilities they claim to possess simply isn't a possibility worth taking at all seriously. There is no evidence that miraculous healings occur or have ever occurred, period. And the methods, both technical and psychological, employed by the likes of Hinn and Popoff have been exposed so thoroughly and repeatedly over the years that to me it's a safe bet to assume that they know exactly what they're doing. So let's talk about what that is, because faith healing isn't stupid and contemptible and destructive and evil just because it's obviously phony. It's one of the most successful grifts ever devised. People flock by the tens of thousands to attend Benny Hinn's miracle crusades, many of them hoping for a miraculous healing of their own, most of them leaving lighter in the pockets than when they arrived. Hinn's ministry alone pulls in over $100 million in donations annually. Judged on dollars and cents, as well as on the number of people who've been able to achieve great financial success doing it, despite the fact that it has been widely exposed as a fraud, faith healing has got to be considered one of the most lucrative con tricks in history, perhaps second only to religion itself. It preys on the sick and the vulnerable. But back to how evil it is. Faith healers target desperate, frightened people. They tailor their acts to pander to cancer patients, people suffering from debilitating injuries or chronic pain, parents of severely disabled children. They exploit the faith and hope of these people and use those qualities to separate unsuspecting marks from their money. It's cold, it's unconscionably cruel, and the damage it does reaches far beyond those who attend miracle crusades or take care to tuck a check in with their prayer requests. It obstructs legitimate medical treatment. Not all faith healers ply the trade on stage in front of thousands of people, and not all of them are immediately obvious as willful frauds. Many of them are just ordinary people who attend churches where healing by faith is just another part of the teaching. Many of these people shun doctors and medicine, choosing instead to pray for God to cure their ailments or injuries. And some of these people, and more tragic yet, some of their children, die needlessly from easily treatable conditions as a result. So, it's fraudulent, it enriches charlatans and exploits the despair and credulity of suffering people, and it kills people. But the most maddening thing about faith healing to me is that despite all of that, it's impervious to criticism and exposure. Let me repeat myself. Benny Hinn receives $100 million in donations a year. Not $1 of that does he actually deserve, and yet, despite being repeatedly exposed as a fraud, he continues to just rake it in year after year. I sometimes wonder why we as a society allow people like Benny Hinn to get away with this, legally speaking. I mean, he's misrepresenting himself, he's claiming to provide a service he obviously is not providing, and is receiving donations on the basis of that false pretense, and how the fuck is that not fraud? But that's only half the problem. Here's the other half. How many of us know someone who supports parasites like this? Siblings, friends, cousins, parents, grandparents, aunts or uncles. And how many times have we listened politely and bitten our tongue if the subject happened to come up while we were around? If we suspected that our loved one was being bilked by a catfish, would we just stand aside and figure it was none of our business, or would we try to talk some sense into them? And if we would speak up if we thought they were being catfished, why do we treat what this guy does any differently? The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.